In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, in Amen we think, in Amen we trust, and in Amen we will continue forward forever as the 144,000 within the Republic of Mentellect. Good evening. This is your host, Indira Mendez, on Mentellect Radio, and today's date is April 26, 2018, on a Thursday evening. And tonight's topic is going to be about the nonsensical behavior of entitlement. Please be advised that this is a 30 to 45 minute talk show, so you all can stay tuned. Okay? So I'd like to start off by presenting a situation that had took place, throughout the course of the week. There was an incident that took place with my significant other, and we was at his place of residency, and there were some skateboarders that were skateboarding and riding in front of his place of residency, back and forth, and they were filming it. As a result of it, what ended up happening is that it was like a little cliff in front of his building, and they kept on just skateboarding and flinging off of that little cliff or whatever and trying to film, not being mindful of the fact that there's other residency, that there's people that live there, and that this property is not for skateboarding. Okay, so my significant other said something only when he realized that a woman was coming out of the place of residency, and they almost hit the woman coming out of the building as a result of them skateboarding across over that cliff. So he said something to them, and he was very highly upset as a result of them about to accidentally hit the woman. Okay, so he told them that they don't live here, and that he suggested that they go and play in the park or do something otherwise. What happened was it was a little dispute going back and forth, but they ended up leaving anyway. Now, my whole thing with that situation was the fact that these kids have like a childlike mentality, and feel some sense of entitlement, as in they can do whatever they want, especially for those who are not conscious and very oblivious to the fact of coming into people's neighborhoods and just feeling like they could just do anything or whatever it is that they want. Okay? And yes, these particular kids were Caucasian, and they were in a predominantly so-called black neighborhood, and they was just doing that. So like I said, my significant other said something. He told them, he told them to leave, and they didn't have a problem with it, but they couldn't understand his level of aggression and him being upset and mad. Okay, now like I said, going back to the fact that I'm having a childlike mentality, basically, they have a typical careless mindset where they're not mindful of the fact that, oh, okay, well, you know what, somebody lives here. Oh, and that somebody can actually get hurt as a result of us doing these dangerous, moves or whatever, all these stunts and things like that. They're not thinking about that. So that goes to show that they have a careless and childlike mentality. Okay, so all in that whole situation, it was an adult putting kids basically in their place. Now, however age that they were, I don't know, because you got grown-ass men that are skateboarding, and they find nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong, it's a sport, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, I think that skateboarding should be for teenagers up into the age, if it is a sport, up into 25. Anything beyond that, I feel that you just a big kid, okay, trying to skateboard. But anyway, these kids looked young, between that age range of 17, 24, whatever the case might be. They look between that age range. But you would expect for them to have some type of sense, as in being mindful of the fact of that. And like I said, there's so many parks that they could have went to that provide skateboarders to do whatever type of move that they want to do, but they choose this particular place in particular. Okay, I don't know why, but they did. Okay, make a long story short, these kids left. A couple of days later, came back around doing the same exact thing. Now this just goes to show that not only are they oblivious or careless and mindless, but they are being disrespectful of the fact that you had someone address you the first time to leave, off of the property. This is not a hangout spot. And you still coming back again, like as if you saying, forget what this person said, I'm going to do what I want to do. Going back to that sense of entitlement. Okay, so the fact that they came around the second time, again, my significant other stood his ground. He told them to leave again, because they're not being mindful of the fact that you can hurt someone coming out this building. It's not about your film, your move, or whatever the case might be. If it's that important to you, you would think about the other people surrounding you, not you and your little skateboard and your moves. Okay? So there was a even greater dispute and more of a disrespect on their behalf coming from them. But at the end of the day, my significant other still put them in their in their place. And they ended up leaving once again. Now, I suggested to him that maybe the landlord should put a sign up saying that this is not a hangout spot, no skateboarding or anything like that. Especially the fact these people do not live in that building. Okay? So, I suggested that. And then I also told him, if they do that a third time, that the best thing to do is to film them. Film them while they doing it. And while you talking to them, telling them to move, and then if you have to get, any, police or legal action involved, then you do so, and you show them that video that they are not listening. Okay, they're not listening to you. They're not respecting you as an adult to leave that property. Okay, now I just shared that story with y'all just to give you a prime example of the fact of how people have this whole sense of entitlement, that people don't have no type of consideration or respect for anyone or anything. People got this mindless behavior that needs to be acknowledged. So this is why, and this is what inspired me to talk about this topic on tonight. Once again, the topic is about the nonsensical behavior of entitlement. Okay? Now, I wanted to talk about entitlement in itself. It's according to the Web Dictionary of what entitlement basically means is having a right to something or having the belief that a person is inherently deserving or privileged or privileged to special treatment. This is what entitlement is all about. Okay? Having an opportunity or getting the opportunity to do something over another person, or just having a better status than someone else, okay, or for just entitlement in itself. And I'm just basically here to say that having a right to something and being right at the same time has two different meanings, along with different levels of intentions. Okay, and I'm going to say that one more time. I said having the right to something and being right at the same time has two different meanings along with different levels of intent. Give you a prime example, going back to the skateboarding event. When those kids came back a second time around, disregarding the fact that my significant other told them to leave, and they chose to come back again a second time. And then he has to deal with the level of disrespect. So not only is they feel that they have the right or entitlement to do something, but they carrying on the behavior of being wrong and strong at the same time, and that's not cool. Okay? Because their intentions was that they could do whatever they want. Forget about what he said. Okay? and my significant other intent was to get them off that property in the safety of himself and those people that live in that place of residency as well. The whole objective is different. Okay, so I'm here to just, say that, and that's what I'm just bringing emphasis on what I meant by having the right to something and then being right at the same time and having two different meanings along with different levels of intent. Okay? Now, to feel entitled is basically a matter of rulership that can always be outlawed or taken away. And what I basically mean by that is you have people that have certain types of titles, or they put titles on things in relationship, husband and wife, or you a big executive, or you a chief, executive or whatever, or I'm this or I'm that of high status or whatever the case might be. I'm professional this. And you just got this title, okay? And then you feel a sense of entitlement to some things and certain access. Okay, so my thing is this. If you worked hard to get where you at, more power to you. But for those people who get to where they are at and they forget about the humility part of not only their position and responsibility that they have to do, but when they disregard the respect of person, that's when things get a little messy. Okay, and they let the title or whoever they are get to their head. Okay, nobody should be treated like an animal. Okay, and it's not about no equality or nobody looking down on someone because of better status than you have than another person. Respect is respect. Respect should be given and given back in return. And I really think that it also applies to parents and children. Parents need to give their children respect along with getting the respect from their children as well. I don't think that it should be acceptable for parents to be disrespectful towards their children because that's their parents, so they can say whatever or do whatever they want to do. In essence, right, correct, but at the end of the day, it's how you go about it. It's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it and what you're doing. So if you're being disrespectful to a child, then most likely you're gonna get that back in return. Along with they may not physically show you that they being disrespectful, but they're going to harbor that inside. So I feel like on a genuine base, you give your children respect as much as you demand it, and not so much as demand it, but you get that back in return. Children are supposed to automatically respect their parents. That's a no question, a no brainer. Okay, but at the end of the day, people understand what I'm saying, because you got people that are older. They feel like they know everything, just like you got some younger people that feel like they know everything. But at the end of the day, respect is respect. Don't matter how much age you got you got on you, or what you've been through, or what you did. I feel that an older person can always learn from a younger person just as much as a younger person can learn from an older person. And it's not always so much about word of mouth. Sometimes with the youth, you got to understand that these children sometimes, in most cases, need to learn by experience. Okay? Maybe a few times they need to knock their head or whatever the case might be to get back up to actually understand the detriment of the things that they do. Like I said, sometimes hearing it from an older person is not enough. Okay? When they spreading their wings and they trying to fly and things like that. Okay? But when you are more proactive with the child and things like that, and you are, you being real and blunt with them, and you telling them how life is, especially for teenagers, not so much of the little babies, but teenagers, when you actually preparing them and you telling them word to mouth and you showing examples of how certain situations or scenarios could turn out, that's great as well, but when you put emphasis on your experience and what you've been through, it's almost as if you're trying to say, okay, yes, you don't want them to live the life that you live, but you want them to be better than you. That's understandable. But at the end of the day, you have to have an open mind of the fact that you lived your life, and now it's time for this child or this young person to live their life in trial and error. It's not for you to judge them. Not so much a judging. When I say judge them, as in having pity on them or talking down on them or making them feel bad, you don't do that. Okay, you let them know, I told you so, but it's until you learn, that's when you go about, go your way. You can always be there to support them, but you do not always have to be there to be a crutch for them. Okay, so I'm just sharing that briefly for the older people and the younger people, because that whole title thing, child, parent, and things like that, that needs to be taken into consideration as well too. Okay, going back to manners, respect, and consideration that comes at no cost. Yet, like I said from before, no one chooses to have it, use it, or value it. Nowadays, people feel like, oh, it's just about me, what I want, what I get, people giving me attention, this, that, the third, that's all that matters. Everybody else, everything around me, I don't care about it. That self-centered and selfish mentality. You got people that are like that. Okay, and some people feel so entitled that, oh, because I got high standards and I'm so high sedity and I got expensive, designer clothes or things on me, nobody better not look at me or talk to me any type of way. No, I'm here to say no, because if you do not know how to socialize, you do not know how to present yourself with proper etiquette, not only etiquette but ethnicity. If you don't have that type of way of presenting yourself or your behavior, then it's a no-go. It don't matter how pretty you are or how handsome you are on the outside, because you got men that are arrogant as well, that feel like, oh, I'm so and so and you better respect me, and do you know who I am? You got men that are like that, but you don't have no respect. Okay, you don't have no manners. Okay, you feel that, oh, you everybody else is beneath you. And that's just not how you go about life in general. Okay, now I know you got some people that be like, oh, I got XYZ amount of zeros in my bank account. Nobody could tell me nothing. I could be however way I want, when I want, how I want. Yeah, you could be exactly how you want, where you want, whatever the case might be. But at the end of the day, you're going to be by yourself. Okay? And that money, that figure, that's just a figure of your imagination. Is given to you and can also be taken away from you. Just like your title can be taken away from you. Just like a job can be taken away from anybody. Okay? So it's the same thing, but you got these people that put on these roles and put on these fronts and they do these things. Okay, so you got some people that create a lifestyle that's just basically off of entitlement alone, and set it up. They usually set themselves up for failure. Going back to those family, going back to the home. When you got your children inheriting the profit of whatever their great grandparents or whatever profited from, when you got them actually benefiting from it, but they ain't been through nothing, they ain't put in no hard work, that's setting them up for failure. I don't care how much things that they have, how much of a good life they have, or whatever the case might be. They could have never had worked a day in their life, but at the end of the day, you setting that person up for failure. Okay, I don't care. Some people say money could buy anything, money is the answer to everything, but as an individual, the health of the person, and just as a whole, will not be a good sighting. Okay, so that's just my opinion and that's just my thoughts on that. Okay, and then another thing, you got these so-called black people that are into going back to the Black Lives Matters or whatever the case might be. But you got certain types of people that realize and they understand what their past history was about in terms of slavery and things like that. And they got this whole mentality of feeling like, oh, we need some reparations and things like that. The way I look at it is that we got to pull ourselves up by our own boots. Okay? Pull ourselves up by our own boots and Continue on focusing on the future and moving forward. That's what we should do. It ain't no woe me, nobody owe me anything. But when you got that type of mentality that somebody owes you something, you got that mentality of sense of entitlement to something, okay? And at the end of the day, it's not you that went through that situation or lived in that trial and error. Those was your great ancestors that went through that. Now this is a different era. And we got to set the path, the way for ourselves. That's why we got the Republic of Intellect here and now, where we starting out fresh. We moving forward into the future. There ain't nobody owe me anything. Nobody I feel I have some type of entitlement to something. Nobody got that mentality at all. We're moving forward. That's it. One mind, one body, one soul, and we're moving forward. Okay, we ain't looking at, oh, it's because of the white man this, the white man, the devil, this, that, there. We ain't got time to be hating or whatever the case might be. We focus and moving forward. One, like I said, one mind, one body, one soul. So this is what we are actually doing. We don't feel like, oh, we're entitled to this or entitled to anything. We go off by the power of whatever gives to us. As in, not even inheritance, but as a transmission or whatever the case might be, whatever power Amen gives us, that's because he wants us to have it and move forward. Okay, it's no question about it. There's no stopping it. Nobody could change the future, whatever the case might be. When we got one unified person, persons that are all unified and going forward, we can excel together. Okay, we can make it. Okay, and that's, like I said, that's what we're doing in the Republic of Intellect. We're not looking to play the blame game or feel, woe it's me or our ancestors. We're looking at ourselves as descendants of the Most High. Amen. Okay, the ones that are open to receive that power. Okay, so now moving along to supremacy. Now, supremacy could be seen and viewed from different perspectives. And one of those perspectives being supremacy, what it basically means is a state or a condition. According to the web, supremacy is a state or a condition of being superior to all others in authority, power, and status. Now, realize what I just said in terms of definition of supremacy. You got people, you got races of people, groups or organizations of people that feel that they are better than the rest. Okay? Such as example, you ask me, oh, so what do the people of the Republican Intellect think? Do they think that they better than other black races of people? You damn right. We think we better than the certain types of black races of people. You know why? Because we set ourselves apart mentally. You got people that will willfully be ignorant. You got people that look like us, that will, like I said, that are willfully ignorant, that wants to be a part of the three-dimensional world, and they base their whole world about that. Now, this ain't no shot, this ain't no insult, this ain't no hate on the so-called black race. This is just an acknowledgement of the fact that we are separating ourselves from those types of people, because you have to separate yourself from the bad crowd. Give you a prime example. If you are a teenager, you're in school, and you're in high school, and you know that there's the bad crew that's always getting in trouble all the time. They always up to no good. Don't really have nothing really going for themselves. Now, you a person, you know that you want to look forward to the future or whatever the case might be, and you're basically a decent person than the rest of those people. So you're going to set yourself apart from those type of people and get with people that are like-minded. So that's basically what we're doing. The people that want to be disorderly, disgruntled, or want to be a part of the agenda of what the so-called white man have pushing out, or whatever the case might be, all this disorderly chaos and confusion, for the so-called black people that want to be a part of that, we separating ourselves from those types of people. And we are gathering the 144,000 to be a part of each other, so that way we can work for each other and by each other and strengthen each other, because at the end of the day, iron sharpens iron. Okay, so for those who don't agree with us, by all means, You have all right to not agree with us. You could continue to do whatever it is that you've been doing, living your life however way you've been living. But we got a plan of going forward, moving forward. Okay, we're not talking about it. We actually about the work. Okay, so when we talk about supremacy, do we look at ourselves as supreme? You damn right we look at ourselves as supreme. You know why? Because when Amen, the Most High, extend His power onto us, and when we actually be in a position that we need to be in terms of our capabilities, the things that we are able to do, when we tap into that as one body, one accord, and when we get to that level, you know, that is power. We're gonna be supreme over other people. We're not trying to be equal to nobody. We are trying to basically inherit that power. Okay, so this is what the Republican Intellect is all about. Okay, so we look at ourselves as supreme and regal people. Okay, so a person that is supreme is one that owns their own existence, their purpose, and their own identity in life. Okay, they're not trying to control nobody. They're not trying to keep nobody down. They're not trying to show nobody hate. That is not forms of supremacy. Okay, when you got the KKK, that's what they are about. They are about keeping a race of other people, particular people down. Okay, just straight out racist. Okay, that's not what we about. Like I said, I'm gonna bring it back to y'all one more time. So it's about supreme persons that own their own existence, their purpose, and identity in life. Nobody telling you who or what you are. You tell yourself who you are. And as a people of the Republic of Intellect, we acknowledge ourselves as Mentalians. That's who we are, and that's what we going forward, and we moving forward with that. No ifs, ands, or buts, no arguments against that. We all in agreement with it. Okay, we developing our own language, and we're moving forward. Okay, we ain't got time to be hating or being against no other race of person, whatever the case might be, or race of people, whatever. Y'all are what y'all are. That's it, and we are who we are, and we moving forward. Okay, so supreme person don't have a sense of entitlement to anything or anyone. They are, like I said, who they are. They are inheritors of power. When Amen extends that power to you, that extended form of intelligence, that goes to show that has nothing to do with you being entitled to anything. That just goes to show that you are open to that, and you are capable of receiving that type of transmission. Okay, so supreme persons are usually masters of creations and production. They create things and they're able to produce those things. Okay, so that's what supremacy is all about. Supremacy is not about building things off of the back of other people and then trying to get some type of inheritance about going about that. No, because at the end of the day, how your scheme, how you go about whatever it is that you're doing is going to catch up with you later on. Okay, you got people that feel that going back to slavery, that you got white people still reaping the benefits of whatever their forefathers or whatever done in the past, but realize that currency may not have the same value back how it was back then. Okay, and even though on a three-dimensional level they may be still inheriting it, but at the end of the day that's going to all fade out. Okay, so this is what real supremacy is all about. Okay, so at the end of the day, that whole sense of entitlement, special treatment to certain things, or feeling that they have a better place of residency, a better neighborhood because certain people around, because they can afford those types of money. Okay, you got money being able to answer certain things, but at the end of the day, that's not going to be the continuous answer going forward. Okay, so this is what I want to present to all my listeners on today. So I just wanted to just give that little minute difference between entitlement and supremacy and what it's all about. Because to be a person that's supreme, you know that you know without a doubt, without second guessing yourself, that you are the, the descendant, or you are the, one that is in connection with Amen. You know that you know that you are Hausa. You know who you are, basically. Okay, you're not all unsure about who you are. One minute you an Egyptian, next minute you an Indian, next minute you are an American, next minute you a Christian. You ain't confused. You know who you are. Especially when you come into the Republic of Intellect, we make that clear for you. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share on tonight, and the broadcast is come to a close, and I'm just going to basically briefly, go over what I talked about. Once again, the title was about the nonsensical behavior of people, that feel entitled to certain things. So it's let me just go back over it one more time. The title was about the nonsensical behavior of entitlement. Okay, so I gave a brief scenario of what had not even scenario, but situation that took place, during the week, and I shared it with the audience. So for those who missed out on the beginning of the show, you can always go back and listen. And then I just basically made emphasis on what entitlement is and how you got people that just feel like they can just do whatever it is that they want and not, have no respect of persons or whatever, or have no manners or consideration of certain things, so that's what I talked about. And then last but not least, I talked about supremacy. Okay, not no racial supremacy, whereas we showing hate or throwing hate on other people. If anything, when it comes down to the Republican Intellect, not to go off tangents, if we are talking about something in particular, 9 times out of 10 is about something that is disorderly and something that just don't make sense. But you got people that are of the 3-dimensional world that think that whatever the situation is normal. We look at that situation as abnormal. So if you see us talking about that, or we, you feel that we having some type of hate towards the black race or whatever the case might be, we just basically calling out the action of what these people are doing and how blind to the fact of, how they are mindless about their actions and behavior. Meanwhile, you got people looking at us. They hate people. Y'all may hate us because of what we're doing. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Okay, so that's just my thoughts on tonight, and I thank you all for taking the time out to listen to the Republic of Intellect. Also, for those who are in the New York area, you can come on out to Restoration Plaza on April 28th, 2018. The time starts from 3 to 7. You could come out to hear Nuben McCarray speak. We're having a conference on that day. So if you are in the New York area, please come on out. Okay, so with that being said, you all have a great evening. Good night. Rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Intellect. Black race to the white race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you.